So many books, so little time, and here I am adding even more books to my bookshelves. Come along with me, I have a very big book haul to share with you today. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life and welcome to another book haul video. I have quite a few books to share with you today. I have a couple of library books, I have a secondhand book haul, and I have all of the books that I purchased on Independent Bookstore Day, and I'm going to share them all with you right now. Because we've got so much to get to, without further ado, let's get right into the books. I'm going to start off with the books I have checked out from the library currently. And I picked up both of these. Well, one of them, this first book, I heard about from someone, somewhere, online. And now I can't for the life of me remember who it was who spoke about this book or shared about it. And I apologize for that, but I was very intrigued. The title sounded interesting and the premise sounds interesting, so I decided to grab it. It looks very summery, and that is Welcome to Glorious Tuga by Francesca Segal. And this apparently won the Costa First Novel Award when it came out. Let's see, this was published in 2024. It says a big-hearted page-turner set on a remote island in the South Atlantic Ocean about love, community, and what it means to come home. Two little cute turtles right there. I was sold as soon as I picked this up and opened that. It says, passionate about conservation and fleeing an argument with her mother, newly qualified London vet Charlotte Walker has taken up a fellowship on the tiny South Atlantic island of Tuga de Oro to study the endangered gold coin tortoises in the jungle interior. She can claim the best of reasons for this year in paradise. What better motivation than to save a species? But the reality is more complex. For Charlotte has secretly come to believe that she has her own connection to this remote and eccentric community, and she is finally determined to solve the mystery that has dominated her life. I'm not going to read any more than that because that's really all I need to know. Has anyone read this? Heard of it? Can you recommend it? I'm just going to kind of go into it blind, I think, but it sounds lovely. I love this cover. Oh, I kind of match it today. Not intentionally. So this was the first library book I checked out. And then this second book that I checked out from the library, I was just browsing the shelves where the library has all the new books. And I was looking in the mystery section and this one was there. And I haven't even heard of it, even though I know this author and have read her. But this is No One Would Do What the Flambards Have Done by Sophie Hannah. And I have read the first Poirot book that she wrote, which I liked okay. I didn't love it. And then I'm not sure if I've read anything else by her. I know some of her things are maybe a little bit darker, but this sounded a little bit quirky. It says, the twistiest murder mystery you are ever likely to read, a story about a family that does the unthinkable, both, or something else altogether. You think it will never happen to you, the doorbell, the policeman, the words that turn your world inside out. I'm afraid there's been an incident. For Sally Lambert, those words mean only one thing, danger. Not just for her family, but for Champ, their loyal and beloved dog. A single accusation, a neighbor's grudge, and suddenly the Lamberts are trapped in a nightmare with no escape unless they make one. And so I think they go on the run with their dog. I was kind of intrigued by that. And again, has anyone heard of this one? Have you read this? I think it is brand new, just out this year, I believe. Okay, it was originally published in the UK in 2025. So I think maybe it was just published here in the US in 2026. So anyway, regardless, it's fairly new and I'm intrigued. So it looks like it'd probably be a fast read too. It's got, I think, fairly short chapters and the font is a pretty good size, so I'm gonna hopefully get to that one. Now let's get into all of the books that are going to have a permanent home on my bookshelves. And I think I will start off with the secondhand book haul that I have. All of these are from Thrift Books, which is one of my favorite places to shop online for secondhand books. I always have a link to thrift books in the description box of all of my videos. If you have never shopped with them before, you can click my link and that will get you a free book up to a $7 value. And I also earn a free book as well by you using my affiliate link. So I really appreciate that. But let us see which books I got from this thrift books order. First up, I found a British Library Women Writers title that I don't have that I wanted, and it's in excellent condition. I'm so pleased to have it, and that is Chatterton Square by E.H. Young. And it says, this is a sharp and insightful observation of marriage and families. This layered story focuses on the neighboring households of the Blacketts and the Frasers, the developing allegiance between the spirited Rosamond, and the dutiful Bertha subtly exposes the realities of their marital experiences and desires. So, sounds like we're going to follow two married women. And yes, I haven't read E.H. Young before. I have another one of her books that Dean Street Press republished. Miss Mole, I believe, is the title, and I haven't read that one yet either. So has anyone read this one? Let me know if you enjoyed it or loved it. And yes, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm trying to collect all of the British Library Women Writers editions, and when I find copies in good condition or very good condition or like new condition on thrift books, then I try to snatch them up. So this is the next one I'm adding to my collection. And then the next book that I purchased was the third book in the Beatrix Potter Cottage Tales by Susan Wittig Albert, and this is the tale of Cuckoo Brow Wood, and I found it in the lovely hardcover edition that I'm trying to collect, and so thrilled. This is in excellent condition. I have to get, there's a little bit of like sticky sticker residue on the cover I have to get off, but other than that, so thrilled to have this one. So this is the third book in the series, definitely a series that you should read in order. So if you're interested in this very cozy mystery series featuring Beatrix Potter and animals that are sentient and can speak to one another, though not to humans, then definitely start with the Tale of Hilltop Farm. That is the first book in the series. This one's the third. I've read the first two, so I'm excited to get to this one. Then next up is a book that actually a few people have recommended to me in the comments section of a few of my videos, and I am very intrigued by it. I think it is sort of a coming of age novel set in England. You know I am here for all of that, and that is Flambards by K.M. Peyton. And I think this is sort of a young adult novel, though probably not young adult like we think of it today. It was first published in 1967, so it says, and it was a runner-up for the Carnegie Medal that year. It says, life changes dramatically for orphaned Christina Parsons when her uncle Russell summons her to live at Flambards, his rambling, decaying mansion in the heart of the English countryside. There she finds a strange, brooding household dominated by her crippled uncle's passion for fox hunting, an obsession he shares with his dashing son, Mark. Although Christina, too, soon learns to love horses and the hunt, she sympathizes with her other cousin Will, who hates anything to do with hunting and yearns instead to build and fly airplanes. In Dick, the stable hand, Christina finds a valued friend whose kindness and patience provide a respite from the dark discords which divide the Russell family. So it's set in Edwardian England during the time of rapid social and technological change just prior to World War I. Sounds fabulous. And I think this is a trilogy, actually. So Flambards is the first book in the trilogy. And then, let's see, Flambards Divided, I think, is another one. It says, it lists three of her other books, Flambards Divided, Dear Fred, and Going Home. So I'm not sure which of those are part of the trilogy, but this is the first book. Very excited. This is such a lovely vintage edition, and I'm just thrilled to have it. So thank you to whomever recommended this to me. The final books in my secondhand book haul are all by the same author. And because we read The Ivy Tree by Mary Stewart with the Book Jennies Patreon group for our read-along this past month, I have just been kind of in the mood for romantic suspense, and it's something I'm always drawn to, especially in the summer months. I just kind of like the often exotic locations that the books are set in, and just kind of that fast-paced adventure feel to them. It's just something I'm drawn to in the summer. And so in addition to loving Mary Stewart's romantic suspense novels, I also love this author right here, her romantic suspense novels as well, and that is MMK. And I have, well, 3 books, but One of them is an omnibus, so this is actually 5 books. If you are familiar with her, it is probably from her most famous book, The Far Pavilions, which is fabulous. I can't recommend it enough. It is all about India, and it is just an epic, sweeping story, and it's wonderful. But she also wrote quite a few romantic suspense novels, and they are all death in some specific place, like Death in Berlin. So this is one of them, Death in Berlin. And then I also picked up Death in the Andamans. And then finally, I got this omnibus of 3 of her books, which is Death in Kenya, Death in Zanzibar, and Death in Cyprus. Now, I've actually read both Death in Zanzibar and Death in Cyprus, but I had them in Kindle format because these books aren't currently in print, but I really wanted to read Death in Kenya, and now I have the other 2 also in physical book format, which is just lovely. So yes, these are all just fun, fast reads. So like, let me just give you an example of from Death in the Andamans, what it says. Which I guess Death in the Andamans is actually the 6th and final installment in Kay's exotic, suspenseful series of mysteries. Lovely, intelligent Copper Randall is invited by Valerie Masson, an old school friend, to visit the remote Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean. What first seems like a tropical paradise, enhanced by the eager attentions of a handsome naval officer, Nick Tarrant, soon becomes a nightmare. During a terrible sea storm, several boats capsize, a man is drowned, and a murderer traps Copper and Valerie in a menacing plot. Death in the Andamans is the quintessential English country house mystery spiced with a tropical twist, a complex, romantic, and thoroughly satisfying novel by a masterful writer. I'm very much here for that. That sounds like the perfect summer read, like a hot summer afternoon with a cold glass of iced tea and this book. I am here for that. So I definitely am putting this on my summer pile of possibilities, TBR, whatever you call it. I love MMK, and I am so excited to have these on my shelf now, and I love these fun, especially these vintage editions, so yay! And now let us get into all of the books that I purchased for Independent Bookstore Day, which was on Saturday, April 25th, I believe it was the 25th. And I wasn't able to actually get out and physically go to my local independent bookstores. We just had a lot going on that day. So I decided to instead shop through bookshop.org. So every time you make a purchase through bookshop.org, it supports an independent bookstore, and you can choose which independent bookstore you want to support. So you can support a local bookstore near to you. You can support a bookshop that you know of from somewhere else or that you visited, and you can change it when you want to. It's really just a lovely way to give back to independent bookstores, especially if you can't get to them in person. And so that is what I did this year, and I am going to share with you the 6 books that I purchased for Independent Bookstore Day, and also the 1 book-related but non-bookish item that I also purchased. I'll share that first, and that was a puzzle. I got this Bookshop Afternoon puzzle, and it's kind of gold foiled. Can you see that? It's really pretty. The gold foiling makes it kind of a challenge to put together, but I am very much enjoying it. I'm in the middle of putting it together right now, and yes, I love a good puzzle. This is a 500-piece puzzle, if that is what you're looking for. This is a Gallison puzzle. I really love both the Gallison and the Ebu brands of puzzles. I really enjoy doing them. I like the pieces, the way they fit together, and the way they're cut. It just makes for a very lovely and not easy as in like super simple, but I just like when you can't tell if a puzzle piece is an edge piece or not an edge piece, and the cuts and the shapes of them are, I don't know, they're somehow asymmetrical in some way, so that drives me crazy. these puzzles are never like that. And they have lots of bookish puzzles. So if you like to do sort of book related puzzle scenes, Gallison and Ebu both have a great selection. And yes, I love them. And I will have links to bookshop.org for all of these items that I purchased from Independent Bookstore Day. So if you want to go and support them, if you use my links, it also supports me as well a little bit. Those are affiliate links. So I do get a little bit of money back every time you click through on one of those and make a purchase. So I greatly appreciate it. And we should support independent bookstores. Actually, independent bookstores are up. The number of them are up this year quite a bit from where they were at their lowest point after the big A came into existence. So we need to keep supporting them so they can stick around. And now to the books. First book was another recommendation from some of you lovely viewers out there, so thank you for that. And my first purchase was The Egg and I by Betty McDonald. So if Betty McDonald's name sounds familiar to you, that is because she wrote the Mrs. Piggle-Wiggle series, but this is a memoir. And it says, when Betty McDonald married a Marine and moved to a small chicken farm on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington State, she was largely unprepared for the rigors of life in the wild. With no running water, no electricity, a house in need of constant repair, and days that ran from 4 in the morning to 9 at night, the McDonalds had barely a moment to put their feet up and relax. And then came the children. Yet through every trial and pitfall, through chaos and catastrophe, this indomitable family somehow mercifully never lost its sense of humor. So yes, I'm very much looking forward to this. I've heard wonderful things about it, and it sounds funny and charming, and I am here for all of that. And then next up, I picked up a book by an author that I have very much enjoyed, and this one sounds so good, and that is The Rose Arbor by Rhys Bowen. It says, an abandoned English village draws a young journalist into a decades-old mystery. London, 1968. Liz Houghton is languishing as an obituary writer at a London newspaper when a young girl's disappearance captivates the city. If Liz can break the story, it's her way into the newsroom. She already has a scoop. Her best friend Marissa is a police officer assigned to the case. Liz follows Marissa to Dorset, where they make another disturbing discovery. Over 2 decades earlier, 3 girls disappeared while evacuating from London. One was found murdered in the woods near a train line. The other 2 were never seen again. As Liz digs deeper, she finds herself drawn to the village of Tideham, which was requisitioned by the military during the war and left in ruins. After all these years, what could possibly link the missing girls to this abandoned village, and why does a place Liz has never seen before seem so strangely familiar? Sounds very good. As you know, I am currently, I think I'm on book 3 of the Her Royal Spyness mystery series by Rhys Bowen, but I've also read 2 of her standalones. I have read In Farley Field, which is a World War II mystery, and I have also read, obviously, her most recent book, which just came out, which is Mrs. Endicott's Splendid Adventure, which I absolutely loved. So I'm very much looking forward to The Rose Arbor. Has anyone read this one? Did you enjoy it? Let me know your thoughts. Next up is a book that I heard Johanna from Me, My Dog, and Books talking about, and I've actually read another book by this author and would love to read more by her, so that prompted me to pick this one up, and that is How to Age Disgracefully by Claire Pooley. And I have read Iona Iverson's Rules for Commuting, which I definitely recommend. I loved that book. I thought it was wonderful. Kind of about a found family of people who commute on the tube in London, and Iona Iverson's a bit of an older protagonist, and yes, it was just very charming, and so I want to read more by her, and this one sounds really good. Again, we have an older protagonist. It says, when age makes you invisible, secrets are easier to hide. Daphne knows that age is just a number. She also knows that society no longer pays her any attention, something she exploits to help hide a checkered past. Finding herself alone on her 70th birthday, she decides to venture out. Joining a senior citizens social club horrifies her. She's not made to endure games of cards and the like. But the other members of the social club surprise her. When the local council threatens to close the club, they don't anticipate the seniors fighting back. But with the help of the toddlers next door, a teenage dad, and an orphan dog, this unorthodox gang sets out to save the place they love, as long as their past don't catch up with them first. Sounds fun. It sounds a little bit like The Lido by Libby Page, which I also love. So very much looking forward to this one as well. But thank you, Johanna, for talking about this recently, because it definitely prompted me to pick this one up. Next up is a book that actually had been sitting in my bookshop.org shopping cart for the longest time. Months, maybe close to a year. I've had this book sitting there and I thought, I'm just going to buy it because I never want to take it out of the shopping cart, so I just sort of save it for later and then put it back in the shopping cart, but I hadn't yet purchased it. Now is the time, and that book is The Sisters, the saga of the Mitford family. This is by Mary S. Lavelle? Not sure. Lavelle, probably. And of course, this is all about the Mitfords. I have very much enjoyed Nancy Mitford's novels. I have also really enjoyed the recent adaptation about the Mitfords. I've watched the Pursuit of Love adaptation, and I find them very fascinating, sort of how they came to be such prominent figures in society. And yes, and they're very complicated women, and I'm just very intrigued to read more about all of them. And Unity becomes a Nazi basically, so yes, very strange. And a lot of them were estranged for much of their adult lives, and just as a result of their political differences. It's just so fascinating how these women grew up in the same family and turned out so different from one another. So very much looking forward to this one. When I was shopping on bookshop.org, I was also looking at my Goodreads want to read list just to kind of see what books were on there that I thought kind of, drew my attention and I'd be interested in having on my shelves. And so this one is one that kind of drew me to it, and I decided to purchase it, even though I'll probably wait and read this in the fall because her books feel very much kind of almost gothic in style. And this is House of Splinters by Laura Purcell. And this is a prequel to her novel, The Silent Companions, which I have read and I very much enjoyed. And this says, Belinda Bainbridge has spent her life in the shadow of her anxious mother. So when her father-in-law dies at the Bridge, his remote ancestral seat, she is secretly thrilled. His death means she, her husband, Wilfred, and their children can relocate and finally begin to create their own happy home together. Born a merchant's daughter, she will now be lady of the manor. But their new home quickly proves far from ideal. The garden is a wilderness, the estate is struggling financially, there are whispers about the mysterious death of a servant many years ago, while their young son Freddie seems unusually fixated on the strange wooden figures, so-called silent companions that were once owned by his ancestors. When Wilfred's charismatic brother Nathan arrives unexpectedly from abroad, bringing a very different account of the family's past, Belinda begins to question what her husband has told her. What really lies behind the sad history of the house, and are Belinda's children truly safe here? Sounds very gothic and like it will be a perfect autumn read. Very much looking forward to this one. And then my final book is the first novel by an author who is well known for her nonfiction work. I have one of her nonfiction books on my shelf I still need to read, but this novel really intrigued me, and that is 6 Weeks by the Sea by Paula Byrne. And this imagines Jane Austen's life, or a part of Jane Austen's life. It says, a vivid historical novel about Jane Austen that explores a question that has fascinated Janeites for years. Austen wrote some of the greatest love stories in existence, but did she ever fall in love? It says, when Jane Austen hears the news that her family is to leave their beloved country home for the city of Bath, she faints with surprise and horror. But there is one compensation, the promise of a 6-week holiday by the sea while their new lodgings are being prepared. She relishes the bracing air and beautiful surroundings, takes pleasure in sea bathing, and shares laughter with her sister Cassandra and best friend Martha Lloyd. To her joy, her brother Frank arrives, fresh from naval exploits in the war against Napoleon. His amiable friend Captain Parker seems to be making a play for Jane's affections, but another handsome holidaymaker catches sight of Jane and is determined to make her acquaintance. He is Samuel Rose, a lawyer, book lover, and abolitionist. Meanwhile, she assists the eccentric Reverend Sweet in finding a home for his granddaughter who has arrived from the West Indies. Written with a wit and style that echoes Austen herself, Paula Byrne expertly interweaves her deep knowledge of Austen and her world with a rich emotional narrative of a romantic and life-changing summer. Sounds lovely. Love this cover. Anyone read this? Let me know what you think of it. And yeah, this one will probably be a great pick for Jane Austen July. So looking forward to diving into this one. One last thing before I wrap up this video. I am curious if any of you are curious about where I shop for books, where I find both new books and secondhand books. And if you are interested in seeing a video specifically about that, I have a pinned comment down below. Please leave a reply to the pinned comment letting me know if you would be interested in seeing a video where I share where I shop for books, mostly online, because I think that would probably benefit you all the most since most of you don't live near me. So yes, let me know if that's something you're interested in, and I will definitely add that to my upcoming video rotation. So let me know that in the replies to the pinned comment below. And this will wrap up the library, secondhand, and independent bookstore day hauls that I had to share with you all. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the new books that I've added to my shelves. I would love to know, have you read and loved any of these, or are you going to add any of them to your own personal TBR now that you have seen me talk about them? Let us chat all things new books down in the comments below. And if you're here but you don't have anything that you would like to add in the comments, but you would like to let me know that you were here, well, because 6 Weeks by the Sea is set at the seaside, let us leave some sea, water, beach related emojis. I am already thinking ahead to my summer reading plans. Even though I am fully enjoying my spring reading at the moment, I still have summer reading on the horizon. So let's leave some beachy seaside emojis. I love seeing those and knowing that you were here, and they really do help my channel, as do likes if you enjoyed this. And if you could hit that like button, that would be lovely. And also the hype button if you're on the YouTube mobile app. And if you're new here and you haven't yet, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join my cozy bookish community. Thank you all so much for being here and taking time out of your day to spend it with me. I so appreciate you being here and leaving all of your lovely comments. They mean so very much to me. As always, I will be back with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye.